Yes. So it's a way of showing what's happening on the ground by having a multi-narrative, not only one narrative, by meeting different people, different organizations, civil society, and local businesses, just meeting a lot of people for people to make up their mind and be exposed to the reality, and then have their own mind and decide. This is how it is about. Today, this webinar is about hosting Healing Across the Divides, presented by Norbert, Professor Norbert. Hi. And he has been bringing groups through Healing Across the Divides to Israel, Palestine. And today we are going to speak about the upcoming tour in March 2024. Norbert, would you like to say hello or welcome for the people who are joining us today?
Thank you very much, Emily. It's a joy and a privilege to be with you, not just because you're an important part of Mejdi Tours, but you were one of the 2 tour guides this year. So we're really doubly lucky to be with you. My name is Dr. Norbert Goldfield. I'm a practicing internist, and one of those Americans who feels that I must be engaged in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. And I started Healing Across the Divides in 2004. So now is almost our 20th year. Next year will be our 20th year. And starting 6 or 7 years ago, we were trying to imagine how we could show people who are generous donors or who want to learn more about the organization, how could we show them what was going on the ground? And because clearly it's important to see the grantees. That's an important part of what we do. And you're going to hear shortly from 2 amazing leaders of 2 of the groups that we support and provide consulting to. But the reality is that the grantees, while they're critical, they're not the only part of what's to be experienced in the Middle East. And so we did a lot of research that I want to particularly highlight one of our supporters, Sarah Weinberger, who did a lot of research and worked with as part of Healing Across the Divides to identify an appropriate tour operator. And we were lucky to have found Mejdi Tours. We've definitely, you'll be hearing, I'm sure, from Emily about what happens during some of the tours aside from the grantees. But we, since 2016 or so, have been working every year around this time, that is to say, around the time of March, around that time, to go to the region to see exactly for your own eyes and our eyes, to see basically 1 grantee a day. We eat amazing food, the Middle Eastern food, even though I was born in Italy and I'm partial towards Italian food, but Middle Eastern food is absolutely wonderful. You'll see some of the amazing sites, and you'll see what's most important. When you see a site, you will hear from people like Emily, and Emily will be our Palestinian tour guide next year. She was so amazing this year, and we're lucky to again have Yael Agmon as our Israeli tour guide. She was our Israeli tour guide this year. And they will point out how when you look at some of these sites, you will see and hear 2 narratives. So it's a combination of seeing sites, eating wonderful food, meeting grantees. And what's the whole purpose of working with these grantees? The mission of Healing Across the Divides has remained the same throughout our existence of almost 20 years. That is to say, what we aim to do is measurably improve the health of marginalized Israelis and all Palestinians through community-based interventions. So there's a lot there. So let me just highlight, what I'm getting at through this mission statement that has been discussed time and time again by the board of directors, which is composed, by the way, of Jewish Americans, Arab Americans, and Americans interested in the in the Middle East conflict. So we're interested in measurably improving health, which is to say we want to see evidence of that, and that's a part of our consulting that we provide to the community groups that you'll be hearing from. And marginalized Israelis and all Palestinians. Marginalized Israelis because there's large groups of Israelis that are marginalized and that are poor, discriminated against. I say, and we say all Palestinians, because the reality is in the West Bank and in Gaza or Palestinian territories or Palestine, they currently live under military occupation. So it's all Palestinians who need to be addressed. And then lastly, we'll look at community-based interventions. So community-based interventions for ourselves is that all of us on the board of directors wish that we could wave a magic wand that have peace in the Middle East tomorrow. But we may be fools, but we're not delusional, which is to say, we say we want to be involved, but we want to do something that's realistic, that's measurable, that's actionable. What do? We work on the basis of health, and we work with the communities on up. That's the whole idea, working with community-based interventions. And like I said, you'll be hearing from two of the groups today. Mm-hmm. So again, measurably improving the health, marginalized Israelis and all Palestinians through community-based groups. We have funded more than 50 groups in our almost 20 years of existence. We have measurably improved the health of more than 250,000 Israelis and Palestinians. And we feel very proud of the work that we've done, but we're especially proud of working together with Mejdi Tours. So I think that what I'd like to do now is introduce you to Naama Goldman, and she will speak about one of the projects, which is the Medical Wadi project. Then after that, I will introduce you to Tamara Arwartani, and she will speak about Palestine Sports for Life. The Medical Wadi project is in Israel. The Palestine Sports for Life project is in right near Ramallah, and you'll hear more from them. But now I'd like to hand it over to Naama Goldman, and thank you so much, Naama, for being with us today.
All right, thank you so much for inviting us and for supporting us with the Mother Tongue program. It's been a year. We just celebrated 1 year this last Friday, so it was exciting. I'd like to say that HATD, in addition to just supporting financially, they're very unique in the fact that they are very involved in the whole process and are there to support us to think through what we do and make decisions together and help us with knowledgeable people in the field, so that we're not alone and we're thinking how to create our project the best way that we can and make it sustainable. So we're not just getting through this first year, but we're looking long term to grow the project throughout Israel. Medical Wadi, first of all, is a public benefit corporation that started about 3 years ago with the founders, our visionaries who founded a bilingual school in Wadi Ara, in a town called Kfar Kara, about 18 years ago. And the idea is to create institutions that are joint Arab and Jewish from the get-go, so that we think together from the beginning, from the foundation, how to create a joint institution that can serve the whole population, because Wadi Ara, it's located somewhere between Netanya, Hadera, and Haifa, so just east of Caesarea. And there are many Arab and Jewish towns and villages that are neighboring, and we are very, very separated. We have no interaction practically, except for doctor-patient or at the supermarket, gas station, but no real meaningful relationships to speak of. So what we were looking for is to create institutions throughout the region here, the Wadi Ara region, that will be joint and will serve the population. So in terms of cultural adaptation and language, And the first one was the school, and a few years ago we started in health. And the idea is preventive health, and we want, our dream is to have a large facility that will serve the area, because we are in the periphery. So in terms of, for example, rehabilitation is far for the people, transportation wise. It's not something that's accessible to all of the residents here. The education and the child development is something that we need, and also professionals and specialty doctors that don't exist in this region. So we're looking in the long run to have a big center that will serve this area as a periphery, and in the short term we're working on developing programs that will reach out in an equal manner to the residents of the area, so that when you advertise something here, it's usually targeted for a specific population. And what Medical Wadi does is target to both the Arabs and the Jews. And we're trying to be as equal and diverse as possible in our advertising, so that everyone knows about the opportunity to join our programs. The mother tongue program.
I'm going to ask you to focus, because you have
Right.
1 minute left. I'm giving you a 1 minute warning.
All right.
Focus on the, or 2 minutes max, if I could focus you on the.
On the mother tongue.
Yes.
So
Thank
the
you.
Mother Tongue program is a program that was created for an ongoing program. So it's about 10 to 12 meetings for Arab and Jewish women, that's co-facilitated by an Arab and Jew, and it's throughout the pregnancy period, or there's a program for women just after childbirth. So the idea is that, first of all, Arab and Jewish women get to meet on a basis of growing a healthy family and gaining knowledge and tools and support throughout this very sensitive and changing time. And in addition, they're able to have this place where they don't usually meet. So they're able to talk about things that happen in their personal lives and in our society, in a way that they have built a strong infrastructure for to believe in each other. And it's very, very important. And we hope to grow this program throughout the country, so that there are more opportunities for women to start their good relationship when they start their families, and have a trusting relationship with each other.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. And this is really, it gives you an idea, just a little smattering. Maybe one thing I'm going to ask you to do for 30 seconds, maybe you could tell us, Naama, during the study tour, what do people do when they come to the program? So
we hosted a group this year in the Medical Wadi offices, which is located in Kfar Kara. And we explain about our vision and about our project. We're able to get feedback from the visitors, and it's an experience, because when you hear about things theoretically, you can't really grasp what's going on as you can when you come to the village and you see what we're doing, and you see the people, and you see the impact that we're making. They were super moved, the guests that came last year, and I really welcome all of you to come, and we'd be very, very happy to host you. Thank you.
Thank you, Naama. Just a few miles away, but a completely different world. And that's why I consider myself to be the lucky one to have founded Healing Across the Divides. I'm sure you're all amazed so far by Naama Goldman. Now you're about to meet an additionally amazing woman named Tamara Awartani, who is going to describe the project that she works, she's the leader of, the community group that she's the leader of, and the initiative that they've also just finished their first year. All our grants are 3-year grants. The first year is the proof of concept to see if the initiative really can work. The second year is to really implement the work, and both Medical Body and Palestine Sports for Life are really now implementing the work. They both did amazing work. They demonstrated the impact of the initiative on the health of the people that we're serving. And then in the third year, they need to start thinking about, and we work with all the grantees to possibly start thinking about how this might go forward after we have concluded our funding and provision of technical services. So Tamara, thank you so much for being on the webinar with us, and please take it away.
Very much, Professor Norbert, and thank you everyone for being here. I would like to share with you what we as Palestine Sports for Life organization do, and also how our cooperation with Healing Across the Divides went. And I also would like to thank and reassure that it was also great to have support, not only financially, but also in terms of an M&E and different tools to use to actually have measurable results. I'm going to share with you at the moment and also explain to you our program for the first year and what we're planning to do in the next years. So basically, our program is called My Lifestyle, My Health. I'm going to explain to you first a little bit of just who we are, just shortly, and then explain to you again on this program. So basically, Palestine Sports for Life was founded in 2010. We're a leading Palestinian nonprofit sports for development organization, and we work really across the SDGs, so one of which is health and well-being, and we work in the different vulnerable Palestinian communities across Palestine, and we are also a recognized global organization. So one of the programs that we're working with HATD is My Lifestyle, My Health. We worked in 2 different refugee camps. One is in Arub refugee camp, which is located in Hebron. And the other one is the Qalandia refugee camp, which is located in East Jerusalem. Both of them, we worked with girls in 8th and 9th grade. Together with 2 different schools. And we built the capacity of physical education teachers and brought in nutritionists. So we combine purposeful play with nutrition awareness so that we are able to raise the awareness about like the intake of their daily intake and nutritional intake, and also the impact of physical education on their life and health, basically. We first tested on how their like nutritional behavior is at the start of the program. And during the school year, we really worked through classroom education, but a lot through purposeful play. Together with the nutritionist to increase their awareness about the different habits. We were also able to impact the cafeteria within the 2 schools. They changed the services and the products that they were providing because the girls had better understanding of the intake to have a better lifestyle, and also that would have impacted their health. And also we like the girls usually didn't have any breakfast, and through this project we were able to change that habit and change that behavior to have breakfast, and also to have Tupperwares, like where they were sharing each other what they were bringing from school from home, where they had the thought that healthy food is expensive. But through this project, they were able to understand that healthy food is like reachable within the household, and that they can actually be healthy without having lots of expense, especially that they're coming from very vulnerable areas. So, for instance, one of the girls here in the picture, she made cucumber sushi. So they're also becoming very creative in showcasing what they were able to do with within the household. The program also reached out to the mothers. So we also invited the mothers during the school year, where we also worked with them on habits, on the food, understanding all the nutrition. That also impacted the whole household, because it's not just the girls in the house, but also everyone in the household. And we had lots of mothers who lost, like at least one of them lost 20 kilos, because they introduced sports within the house. We also supported them with supplies to actually do just small workouts in the house, but also it affected the girls in the schools. I will share with you also, during the study tour, we had 2 times people from the US coming for the study tour, where they met with the girls who were, and the mothers who were part of the program for the whole year, where they discussed and shared how the program impacted them, and what the activities were, and how it changed practically their lives in the health perspective. So they shared their experiences, they answered the questions, and also they got to get a closer look on how it is in reality living in such circumstances, where they are economically disadvantaged, but they also were able to see how such a program was able to impact them in a health wise. I will share with you also, just 1 minute, if I have the time, Dr. Norbert, of a testimonial of one of the parents. There are subtitles in English.
Tamara, we cannot hear. So when you make share, you need to make sure that you're sharing voice also.
Anyhow, it's subtitles. I don't think anyone understands Arabic, so just 1 second, sorry. I'll stop sharing and share again.
No problem. As you're preparing, I just want to highlight the fact that my dream is that we try to strengthen these groups. Now we're going to go. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, you go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You're more important.
No, sorry for this. Go ahead.
I insist. Ladies first.
ضمن مشروع الغذاء الصحي والتغذية السليمة اللي أعد للطالبات في الصف الثامن، اللي كانت بنتي مشاركة في هذا البرنامج والغذاء الصحي. لاحظت مدى أثر الغذاء الصحي على بنتي من خلال التزامها بالطعام والأكل، وتنويع من السلطات اللي كانت بنتي ما تلتزمش أحيانا في وجبة الإفطار، صار عندها التزام شبه يومي. وأيضا لاحظت تأثر الأسرة نحن في البيت كوالد ووالدة وإخوة لهي الطالبة لهي البنت، إن صار عندنا اهتمام بنوعية الطعام، إن ما نلتزم فقط بنوع معين، إضافة تنويع من حيث السلطات، من حيث العناصر الغذائية تحتوي على جميع عناصر الهرم الغذائي. وأنا بشكر.
شاركت بمشروع مع مؤسسة الرياضة للحياة. قبل ما أشارك بهذا المشروع كنت ما أكل أشياء صحية، كنت أكل الأشياء اللي فيها زيوت، الأشياء اللي فيها سكر. ما كنت أحب أكل الأشياء الصحية. فشاركت بهذا المشروع، صرت أكل أشياء صحية. كانت أمي ضل تحكي لي إنه شو هالأكل اللي بتاكلي، كلي إشي صحي. فكنت أواجه بعض المشاكل الصحية، كنت أواجه فقدان بسبب سوء التغذية، كنت أواجه نقص السوائل بسبب عدم شرب الماء، وكنت أدوخ وما أركز بالمدرسة عشان ما بفطر كل يوم الصبح. فاشتغلت بهاي المشروع مع هاي المؤسسة، صرت أفطر كل يوم، أكل أكل صحي. صارت أمي تشجعني، بطلت أشتري من المقصف لأنه أكله مش صحي. صرت أجيب معي كل يوم فطور على المدرسة عشان يضل عندي تركيز ويضل عندي طاقة. كنا نمارس الرياضة بشكل دائم بالمدرسة وغير المدرسة بالبيت كمان. بعد ما شاركت مع هذه المؤسسة.
Yeah. So this is just a glimpse, and yeah, thank
Wonderful.
you.
Any final comments, Tamara?
No, I just wanted to say how successful this program was, and yeah, thank you. And we're looking forward to now doing this into other schools. One is in Amari refugee camp in Ramallah, and the next one is in Balata refugee camp, which is in Nablus. So hopefully replicating the same model and developing it. Thank you.
Thank you so much to both of you. I personally have a dream in starting Healing Across the Divides. Now, this is my personal dream, is not only, and this is certainly part of the board of directors, not only do we want to strengthen the community groups, but my personal dreams is that from the kind of young people that you've just heard from just now, these could be tomorrow's political leaders, not just Naama, not just Tamara, but also Emily. And so that's what we aim for at Healing Across the Divides, to nurture improvement in health, nurture improvement in the effectiveness of the groups, and to have bigger dreams. As we're going towards the next section, I just want to highlight, I'm hoping that there will be questions that can be put into the chat. And so please start putting some of your challenging questions into the chat. Would love to hear from any and all of you that are on the road, on the webinar. I also want to highlight, before I hand it over in a minute to Emily, two things. Number one, that we could not do this work of working with the community groups that we fund without representatives on the ground. So when we had the study tour, one of the principal benefits of being on the study tour is meeting two individuals, in fact, three individuals, but two individuals who are representatives on the ground. You will be meeting Nihad Fatah, who's our Palestinian representative, who's based in Ramallah, and you'll also be meeting Verana Viktorchuk, who's based in Israel. So they will be accompanying us whenever we visit any of the grantees. So as and they are our eyes and ears on the ground. They identify issues that we have to work on. They also identify, because as I already indicated, our funding is for 3 years. We look to fund new groups. We've already funded more than 50. We had 75 applications in our just most recent call for proposals, 75. We will unfortunately only be able to fund 4, and those decisions will be made at the board meeting at the end of this month. But Nihad and Veronica, are our eyes and ears on the ground, together with our communication director Tova Reznicek, who's been with us for many years. And so you'll be meeting all of those individuals. So in essence, in summary, before I hand it over back to Emily, and then like I indicated, I'm hoping that there'll be some Q's and A's that will be present, is that what would a day look like? The day would look like meeting a grantee. You'll often have a talk at a mealtime by an outside person. Almost always our first day, you'll meet with Dalia Shendlin, who's the premier pollster in Israel. You'll be meeting Palestinians from the West Bank at different days who are not part of the study tour. Then you will be hearing from Emily about different aspects of what we're doing during the day, both in Israel and in the Palestinian territories. And it would certainly behoove me to mention that the issues pertaining to good food are always present. So I'm going to hand it back to Emily. I want to thank again Naama and Tamara, and I want to highlight again the important roles that Nihad and Veronica play in our organization. So I'm going to hand it back to you, Emily, to highlight other aspects or all aspects of the study tour, including any that might be of concern to study tour participants.
Thank you, Norbert. Thank you, Naama and Tamara. So in order for people to understand the time and the dates that we are talking about, because I'm sure people are asking, okay, is this just we can just sign up for this tour and just come anytime, or do you have specific dates? What does the itinerary look like? For how long? I'm going to share my screen to see the itinerary itself. So the dates of this tour are already there. They're already decided. It's from March 17 until the 27th of next year. And there is always with Majdi Tours an option for an extension tour to Jordan. You will be having 2 tour guides along for 7 days, and then 1 day with the Palestinian tour guide alone, and another 1 day with the Israeli tour guide alone. This also allows to have the 2 of them visiting sites in different places and having them answering each other if needed, and also commenting on each other, but also allowing the guests to be with one tour guide to have also their own view and have their own questions to them. I will just go like briefly on the itinerary. Whenever there is a visiting a civil society organization or a grantee, it's marked as a grantee, that as this will be decided by Norbert or Healing Across Divides just before the trip, and the availability of our grantees. As I remember in the last tour, things were decided, and just on the ground we have decided that this location is not suitable to go to, so we have changed the itinerary, and I'll get to that, to why these changes happen once we are on the ground. There will be Jerusalem. So there will be a dual narrative tour of
I want to
Jerusalem,
make it a
which
little
is
bit bigger, if you can.
bigger. Yes,
You can.
yes, I'm glad you told me. So the dual narrative tour is the most famous in Majdi, where we cover all the holy sites in Jerusalem, and having the 2 tour guides like telling history, geography, and politics of each site. And then you will be meeting with the journalist Diane Leah Schindlin, as Norbert says, and of course meeting Nihad and Veronica. This is necessarily, by the way, say hello to them. They are here with us today. You will be staying also in the YMCA 3 Arches Hotel. The second, this is the first and the second day. On the third day, you will be visiting Amwas, and maybe also meeting a local from there who will tell his story and his grandparents' story. You will also go to Yad Vashem, and you will have also a time to visit a grantee. A day also will be dedicated to going to South Hebron Hills, which is now a conflicted, I could say, area, and you will get to meet with people there and see the difficulties or not, and listen from them. And one special thing that we offer is also meeting with a local family, having a dinner with this family, and they have some music where people can dance. It's a local Palestinian music, and the band is Israelis and Palestinians, but the family that will host you is Palestinian, and this is in Bethany. And by the way, this will be the family of the co-founder of Majdi Tours, Aziz Abu Sara. And then we will be going to Ramallah, and in Ramallah we had a special thing last year, which is meeting with civil society organization, but also meeting with local leaders, where we met with 3 young women. Each has a different background, and each was had a lot of ambition, and they were telling us of what they want to be and how did they come to have all these thoughts. I will show you some photos now when I finish with the itineraries, where you can see how the ambiance and how people just sit and they would tell of their personal experience, and how also the group will get to ask them questions as one-to-one, but also a question that could be answered by several speakers, and each of them could answer differently. Not everyone has the same opinion, and that's the magical thing of dual narrative. It's not actually dual. It's not only 2 narratives. It could be multiple narratives on only one side. And then in the day after, so as you see, we have grantee visit Jenin. and visiting the Samaritans and going to Nablus. I would like to highlight that Majdi Tours pays attention so much to security measures and keeping the guests secured. And always we are up to date. We're connected to the ground through our guides and through security companies to be up to date on what's happening, not only for security, but also for the weather or the traffic. If anything is happening, we are flexible to change the itinerary and replace it with something else, which was the case the last time Healing Across the Divides tour was here. And then the group will be going to Nazareth, and you will have Shabbat dinner with a local hospitality in Nazareth. Another thing you will be having is going on a boat in the Sea of Galilee and having some time to explore the north. And then you will be going to Haifa and meeting a Druze family, as we always speak of Israel, Palestine as Christian, Muslim, and Jews, but there are other religions that exist in this land. This is the Holy Land. So just as there are the Samaritans, there are also the Druze. So you will be hearing from and be hosted by a Druze family where they will tell about themselves, and you will live this experience and have the taste of their food. Of course, always in each day there will be a grantee visit that is to be decided once we are very close to the tour. And going back to Jaffa, you will have a tour of Jaffa, and then actually 2 days of Jaffa, as there are several grantees there. And then the last day, it will be the transfer to the airport, or for those who choose to do the extension, it will be to their extension tour. I will be showing some photos now that I think it would be nice to see. Meanwhile, do not hesitate to put your questions in the chat so we can answer them for you. I see that already we have 2 questions. And I can answer them and show you the photos in the same time. Yeah. I will see whenever it's a question for Majdi, I will answer it. If it's for a HAD, Norbert, you can answer them. One of them says, can you talk about the efforts being made to bring Israelis and Palestinian groups together? So Majdi Tours is about, I suppose this is a question for Majdi, but it also can be for Norbert. Now I see it's a question that could be answered by both. For Majdi Tours, it's very important to show people who are coming from outside. So usually they are foreigners coming to Israel, Palestine, and we expose them to the reality by having a lot of meetings with politicians, with the human rights organization, with leaders, with civil society, with mothers, with the women cooperatives. It depends on the tour and what is dedicated for. For example, Healing Across the Divides is dedicated for healthcare. So the organization they meet with are organization that they are supporting, but also they are around the healthcare. And so it depends on what the group is dedicated for that we can organize or customize the tour for. Norbert, you want to say?
Yes, I'll be happy to respond. This is becoming increasingly challenging because the situation, as I'm sure everybody who's on this webinar can appreciate, that the sites are beautiful, the food is great, but the politics is getting more challenging. So what you did hear from Naama Goldman is the project pertaining to Wadi Ara, which is a joint Jewish, Arab, or Palestinian effort that pertains to prenatal and postnatal care. So what we do right now today is, in addition to funding groups that may have or may not have efforts to get groups together, We also bring the groups together within Israel, and we bring the groups together within the Palestinian territories. So what we try to do, and this is an important point to emphasize at the end of the day, is that unlike most American policy, I would say, much of American policy, we don't insist that the groups get together. We don't insist to make it very clear as to how the project has to be framed. So we're very honored and pleased to fund both a group such as Medical Wadi, which is a joint effort between Jews and Arabs or Palestinians within Israel. But in addition, absolutely believe that the health for Palestinians living in refugee camps can be improved. And we're pleased and honored that, in fact, Tamara Wartani, the leader of Palestine Sports for Life, proposed this effort that you've heard about. So we do a mix of interventions that we fund. This is a challenging area, but one that we don't shirk from or step away from. Thank you, Emily.
Yes, thank you, Norbert. I see another question now saying, is there any engagement with a Christian guide or a local? I myself is a Christian Palestinian, and I will be the guide for this tour. So I guess this answers your question.
It might be also worthwhile at the point whenever you want. I believe Janelle Johnson should be on the
yes.
And at
Yes,
some point, I'll leave it up
thank
to you. It might be worthwhile and important to have Janelle Johnson speak about her experience on the study tour, not only because of the question, but in addition, she's a Christian herself.
Okay, she should come to be a panelist now. Yes, here's Janelle.
It's amazing, this technology. I never cease to be amazed by it. Emily, you're a magician. And there's Janelle.
And if I can unmute, I'll be ready. In fact, I'm wearing my Coexist shirt that I got at the one of the museums on the Divide, right in near the old city of Jerusalem. So yes, I had actually attended 2 Mejdi dual narrative tours before joining Healing Across the Divide study tour. And I still found value in everything that we did, including the dual narrative, but most importantly, visiting the different grantees. I had already supported HAT before going, but being on the ground and being able to interact with the grantees and seeing everything firsthand was just amazing. And again, you get the best of both. You get the visiting the grantees and you get the best part of the Mejdi tour. So together, it's just an awesome opportunity that I would highly recommend to anyone who's interested.
I should point out that we're not only honored to have had Janelle come on the study tour, but she's now on the board of directors of Healing Across the Divide. So I want to thank you for all your service.
Thank you.
Thank you, Janelle. Good to see you. So we're open to questions. If any of you would like to ask a question, you can raise a hand or write your question in the chat. And I also would like to highlight just after people become participants and just before going into this tour, we usually create another Zoom where we share with people what needs to, we have another PowerPoint that speaks of everything that they need to know about the tour, coming here, the weather, what do they need to pack, what they need to wear, and how to deal with things, the phones and just anything that comes to your mind. This will be provided just right before the tour. And right now on the chat, I will be just sharing a link that for anyone that is interested in joining Healing Across the Divides tour. You can click on it, see the whole itinerary. You can write to us and you can register through the website.
As you're thinking about some questions, just want to highlight in terms of some of the new potential grantees that will be funding as of this September 25th. Certainly, women are the most discriminated against people in the world. And so that's why most of the groups that we fund are either led by women or pertain to women's-led issues. In addition, if you fund the mother or the woman in a family, you fund the entire family. You fund the family, you empower the entire community. So that's really very much a part of it. Tragically, I've already highlighted the fact that women are the most discriminated against people in the world. And certainly one of the projects, for example, that we're considering, this is from this year's study tour that you can see when we were with Palestine Sports for Life. Thank you again to Jonathan Groner, who was one of the participants who took this picture and therefore I think is not in the photograph.
But also thanking him for allowing us to use all the folder photos.
And one of the projects pertains, we have funded this type of project before, pertains to domestic violence and issues against women. Another project that we will very likely fund pertains to one of the most common illnesses that we find throughout the world today, that's only increasing exponentially, which is diabetes. And we've implemented, Healing Across the Divides has implemented an initiative that was developed and validated in Stanford and translated and validated in Arabic called the Chronic Disease Self-Management Program. And it's a lay-led intervention where, again, the essence of empowerment, where the lay leaders, often who have a chronic illness themselves, may have diabetes, is working with 25 to 30 participants to measurably improve diabetes control. And we've used that type of intervention with already several thousand diabetics and people with obesity and other similar chronic illnesses. And we're in the final stages of considering a proposal to implement the Chronic Disease Self-Management Program, or CDSMP, in 2 sites in the West Bank and 1 site in Israel. All the 3 sites are Palestinian. Do we have any questions that have come up yet? Because you can see these amazing sites that you see during the study tour.
No, there doesn't seem to be more questions. I can just keep flipping in the pictures for people to see part of the tour.
The other type of program, and this is something that we always fund, one group that works with what are called refugee asylum seekers. In fact, this is that picture. That's good, perfect timing. And we're in the 3rd year of funding of a group called Kuchinate. We have funded other groups beforehand. And Kuchinate works with, again, African refugee asylum seekers who are not Jewish. So there were up to 70,000 refugee asylum seekers who crossed over into Israel in the early 2010s. And there are approximately 30,000 left from Eritrea, Ethiopia, Sudan. I'm sure some of you have heard about the tragedies that are occurring in Sudan right now, but in none of these countries is life very easy. But in Sudan right now, a genocide is either starting or is about to start again, unfortunately. And we fund, this is an economic empowerment program where we're looking at changes in stories pertaining to their mental health. Almost 75% of the women who made it into Israel were sexually trafficked in the Sinai. So these are very much traumatized women who are still trying to come up with a way to sustain themselves in Israel and hopefully to move on from Israel into either Europe or the United States or Canada or other similar countries. So that's one type of effort that we always fund, one refugee asylum seeker group. That's an important piece. So you can see in one of the markets, but we fund always one group pertaining to refugee asylum seekers. And then after that, we fund groups both in Israel and Palestine pertaining to issues that can be measurably improved in health.
Dr. Norbert, I see that we have two questions. Maybe you can answer them. One
Yep.
is how many falls on a typical tour, and the other one, are volunteer opportunities available with the groups listed?
And the first question again was, if you could
How
repeat.
many people on a typical tour?
Good. Okay. So it can range anywhere from essentially 10 to 22. That's the range. And the second question again was?
Are there any volunteering opportunities with these groups listed? I suppose this is the
Yep.
grantees.
Yeah. Yes. So it depends. It's important. We've had definitely volunteers who have worked with Healing Across the Divides, and we have volunteers who've worked with grantees. So that's definitely both possible. My email is very easy. Norbert, Norbert at healingdivides.org. And if you have a particular idea, I can definitely point you in the right direction. And that's always a possibility. When as you already know, Janelle Johnson not only was moved by the study tour, she wanted to get more involved in the organization. She has a lot to offer in many different realms, and she's now on the board of directors. We also have a board of scientific advisors or technical advisors, and they are people from all over the world that we can access to assist Tamara from Palestine Sports for Life or Naama Goldman.
So this brings us to the end of our webinar. I would like to thank everyone that was here with us today, and thank you for our speakers also. We hope to see you very soon in March. I look forward for this tour, and I invite everyone to click on the link. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us for any technical question or just any question about this tour or any other tour of Mejdi Tours. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and have a great rest of your day, and appreciate everybody's participation.
Thank you so much.